Hello, everybody. Welcome to Startup School. Today we have a very interesting panel, Rahul and Rajneesh. Hello, Rahul. Hello, Rajneesh. They both are working. Rahul is working from a remote village in Himalayas and he's working with GGWP, and Rajneesh is working from London. So we would know in today's podcast how their life has been as a tech architect and a tech lead, working in very two remote locations. One is in Lohaghat, which is a small town in Uttarakhand, and Rajneesh, who is working from London. Welcome, Rajneesh. Welcome, Rahul. How we would start is I will give a brief 10 to 15 seconds intro of yourself to understand what you have been working on, what is your role in current companies.
Yes, sure. Thanks, Samir. Thanks for inviting us.
So I would like to know what your current role is and how you moved from India to London. So everybody in India wants to earn in dollars or euros. And as I got to know that your salaries have been crazy high, which a lot of Indian youth aspire to earn. So if you can throw some light on your journey from moving from India to London, that would be great.
Yes, sure. In my case, I applied for a visa, which is basically skilled worker visa. So, in this visa, you need to get some job offer from any of the employers in the UK. So, let's say if someone is giving you some employment, then they will be sending you that letter saying that we have released your offer letter, blah blah. So, the first thing is you need to have a job offer, and then you need to have the English language. Basically, that will be your mode of instructions in your schools or colleges. So that will prove that basically you know English, right? It's not that you need to give the examination like IELTS and other stuff, but you need to prove that the school or university where you have been graduated or you have been part of, they have the mode of instruction as English. So once you have these two things, you can go ahead and apply for your skilled worker visa. But the caveat to that is they ask for a particular salary range. So if someone is having a salary range of, let's say, previously it was somewhere around 30, but now they have increased it to 38. So anyone who has got the job offer of 38 and above, and then they have the mode of instructions as a English, they can basically go ahead and apply for this skilled worker visa. And once you applied this skilled worker visa, then you will be getting a letter from UK Home Office saying that your visa application has been approved, and then you can start planning with your flights and other accommodation. So yeah, it's pretty much straightforward.
Let me just clarify. So this 30 and 38 is 30,000 and 38,000 euros. Am I correct?
It's okay. So basically, it's pound. Euro is
Pound.
generally towards the Europe, but in the UK they deal in the pounds. They have their currency, which is GBP. They say it's a Great British Pound.
Great Britain. Hmm.
Yeah. So it's 38,000 of pound. That
So
should be
how
your.
did you
Mhm.
so you have mentioned that you need to have a salary range, you need to be proficient in English. How did you apply to some of these companies and got a job? Because once you have to get a job, then you have to apply for a visa. So how did you get offers in some of these companies?
Yeah, so I was using LinkedIn for my job applications. So I applied in various companies, some of the renowned MNCs, multinational companies, and some of them are based out in UK also. So I got kind of interview calls from three or four companies. I had got rejected in one, I think so, twice, and then got selected by two of them. And then yeah, so that
Can
basically
you name
that
some
was
of these companies so that people can reach out to these companies for some of their roles that they might be interested in?
Yes, sure. So there are a lot of companies which are kind of product-based companies. So if you talk about those companies, I applied to CGI, I applied to Version One, then I applied to some of the big MNCs as well, like PwC, and then there were a couple of small product-based companies in the UK. I forgot the name of couple of those, but yeah, so anyone who is willing to give you the sponsorship, basically how it works is not all of the companies will give you the sponsorship. What I mean to say is
Hmm.
not all of the companies will called the international job seekers, right?
Yeah.
So there are set of companies, so you need to find out like what are those companies who can sponsor you or who can give you a job offer to international job seekers, right? So you can find
Can
that.
you give me a list of at least 15, 20 such companies so that I can put it in the description and our viewers can reach out to those companies and probably start applying.
Yes, sir. Not probably 1520. I can give you the link of the UK government where
Oh,
all
great.
those companies are listed basically.
Okay.
So it's more than 500 companies who can
Oh.
sponsor basically. I think so. I have seen the list, but I don't know the exact numbers. So I can
So
give you
how
that.
rigorous or how difficult the job interview process is? So is it difficult to get a job in UK than in India because in the current market and there are some of the changes that have come up recently in UK regarding the salary structure, regarding who can apply, who cannot, even on the dependent visa, some of the changes have come up. So what is your recommendation there? So is it easy? Is it difficult to get a job? And how the interview process is?
Before that, I think so.
Mhm.
You got a job around 2 years back, right? So the scenario was pretty different like 2 years
Yeah.
back. So how is this currently like the job scenario in UK, London?
If you will ask my perspective, you might be knowing, right? There are tougher economic conditions at the moment around the world. There are a lot of
Yeah,
things happening at the moment. But I mean, even though, like UK is kind of, you will find a lot of fintechs organizations working in the UK. And every month, you will be finding a lot of the new startups opening in the UK, right? So you will always have the ample opportunity, and you will always get someone who is going to launch their products or new services who are getting into the market. So it has a lot of options, basically a lot of innovative things are happening around the UK. There is a lot of investment as well. So although it's tight economic situation at the moment, but you will be getting opportunities at, I mean, all the times in the UK. So that's
perfect.
not going to change because
Perfect.
it's a, yeah, it's a hub for innovation and a lot of universities as well. You might be knowing, right? So
Yeah.
always going to
Perfect.
be there.
Before we move on to understanding how your day-to-day work look likes and what all different roles people can apply to, I would like to give Rahul a small 15-second sort of intro. A guy from Bangalore actually moved to a remote village in Uttarakhand, reached fire, and
Not
has been
exactly.
living a
Wait, wait,
very
wait, wait.
a
I'll
no, 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 a
cut
life
down. I'll cut you down. Wait, wait. I'll
without
cut you down.
pollution
I'll
and
cut
traffic.
some myth here. So
Yeah,
two things there. One is it's not remote. It's pretty accessible. It's
remote in
Lohagarh.
comparison of Bangalore, though.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, Bangalore is tier
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, but yeah,
Mm.
I don't know. I post-COVID, I decided, not decided. I came here and I like the place, and I've decided at least till the time I can stay here. So I plan to stay here. And as I said, it's not remote. It's in Lohagarh is like towards Nepal and China border, and it's a good
Mm.
place. A good hill station surrounded by deodar trees everywhere. And the second part, fire, yeah, it's not there yet, but I'm aspiring to reach some number and to achieve fire someday, maybe few years down the line. Yeah.
Mm. But if I compare your uh, journey towards financial independence, I guess you have reached it. But if you, let's say, want to move back to Bangalore, then other than a couple of 2, 3 years.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, it's a difficult question. The financial independence, no clear-cut answer, I'll say. So market is at the peak. So, and it is not going
Yeah,
to
I
remain
agree.
there at the peak. It would obviously come down. But I don't know where I'm after 2 years, right? So I know next 6 months I am here in my hometown, and
Hmm.
finances stability wise, yeah, it's pretty good. But let's see how it
So
goes.
what is your current job role? What you have been working on for last couple of years, if you can help us
Mm.
understand, and how does your day-to-day work look like? And how can somebody actually apply in some of these companies which are hybrid or permanent? Because
Yeah,
everybody wants to do that.
yeah. So we are permanently remote, and we did a lot of hiring like last year. So company is US based, and I think it's just 4 years. We are a startup, completely remote, and right now we are not hiring. At least means that we are not actively hiring. But yeah, means
Mm.
there are always companies and like which are fully remote, and means you would always find them. So for us, I think you could just go and
Can't hear you. We missed you in the middle. Yeah, yeah. Now it's audible.
okay, okay,
Yes.
yeah. So what I was saying is like we plan to be remote. It's completely remote. There is no hybrid model as of now, and I think there are a lot many companies which function the way we are functioning.
Hmm.
So I think it's more about the mindset, I would say. So I decided I want to be in a fully remote company, and I'm here. So I think if someone decides, he will find it. So I have no
What do you think?
like
Remote versus hybrid versus 5 day office?
I would say
It has
remote.
been a constant debate.
Yes, it
Yeah.
has not. I would say fully remote. Reason I'm doing it. I think it's if someone
But
because I'll do it. So
is it specific to tech roles? Let's discuss with Rajneesh. Rajneesh, you have been going to office and your job role is also tech.
yeah.
And what do you think? So is it you also aspire to work on with a remote company, or it's more interesting to go to office, have a very uh, interesting conversation physically rather than over a call?
Hmm.
Uh, I mean, that's a debatable basically, and sometimes I feel like what suits me in a best way, it might not suit you, or it might not suit Rahul, right? But yeah, I will
Mm.
just keep my perspective because this is a broader topic, so I just don't want to put the view of
Hmm.
everyone. So what I feel at some point, since I was also working remotely for almost 2.5 years during the COVID, and then it got like we got a hybrid working model where you need to visit offices at least twice a week. But somehow I feel like it's fine to be in hybrid so that at least you get to see some of your colleagues, discuss with them, spend some time with them. Not
Absolutely.
spend some time, but at least you can go for a quick coffee, 5-10 minutes quick chat, and that will allow us to get mingle with others as well, have their point of view. So I
Mm.
would say like hybrid is more suitable to me, or this is how I see. Like it has got some benefits as well. For example, let's say if I'm facing some technical issue or anything, I need to get into a call,
Hmm.
share my screen, and get help from someone else. If that person is available just in front of my desk, I can just pop into his or her desk and get it
Definitely.
sorted. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, but again,
So what?
that's my view. I'm
Hmm.
Yeah,
not
yeah.
because it's
Logically, that
broader.
makes sense.
See,
Yeah.
that's it's pretty interesting to see the point of view of a startup founder versus because you both, as far as I know, Rahul is working with a startup, and the point of view of a startup tech uh, lead versus startup founder is very different. If you look at Zerodha decided to be fully remote, but recently they have decided to move to a hybrid work culture. It's very
Okay.
interesting, and what you have mentioned, Rajneesh, is definitely debatable. For one person, it may
Hmm.
definitely not work out. For
Yeah, yeah.
one, it may definitely work
Okay,
out really well.
okay. Did
So
Zerodha like declared it anytime that they were
yes,
going to
yes,
be
they
okay?
did. Yes, they are planning to start their hybrid culture and getting people back to offices. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Okay, I was not aware about it. Okay.
Mhm. So
Zoho is
Rajnish, tell me more about, yeah, sorry.
Zoho is fully remote, right? Zoho.
Yes, Zoho is fully remote, and there are a lot of companies like yours who are fully remote, and they are doing pretty well. And it completely depends on the type of the business that you are in. You can
Yeah,
definitely not have
yeah,
manufacturing, let's say, to be
yeah.
remote, right? कोई तो आएगा कंपनी
Hmm.
Yes, I
कंपनी
agree.
फैक्ट्री में कोई तो जाएगा. ठीक है, Rajnish, tell me more about what have you been working on? What type of when we were having a conversation before, you mentioned you deal with a lot of cloud technologies, and how can somebody start a career in cloud? And how does your role look like as of today?
Yes, so basically, you asked me three questions. So let me start with
Hmm.
first one, what's my roles currently, right? So I'm currently working as a technology architect, basically towards the digital transformations, cloud migrations, and other stuff. Like some of the customers or products are efficient in the cost savings and reducing the manual efforts, automation, and all. So this is what at the high level I am mostly involved into. Now coming to like how someone can get into cloud space basically, right? So if you will look from this, I mean, high level, there are three providers which most of the customers or most of the people are using at the moment. It's Microsoft Azure, then Google Cloud, and Amazon AWS, right? So
Yes.
get into cloud space, it's just that the basic learnings we need to know, like why to move into the cloud, what benefit it is going to give you when you are in the cloud, not in the on prem, right? So what I would
Yeah.
say, first you need to think from a broader picture, like what is the cloud, why someone needs to go there, and what benefit it is going to give, right? So you need to clear your basics first, right? And because most of the concepts like what we are doing for a traditional database like Oracle on the on prem, right, that will
Yeah.
be also remain same in the cloud. It might happen that Oracle might be transformed to or replatformed to Postgres, right? But
Hmm.
how you run the query, how you store the data, these concepts are going to be same even in the
Yeah.
cloud also, right?
Yeah.
So you need
Hmm.
to have a clear understanding of the basics, and then start learning from the basics, like what the cloud is, what the benefit out of it. And then you need to link your services from on-prem to cloud. For example, let's say if you
Hmm.
have on-prem database Oracle, right, then you can link it. If this is the Google Cloud BigQuery, then how it is different from on-prem, or what services it is going to, what benefit it is going to give. So if you interlink, then you will get clear understanding. And then
Hmm.
you can try to start with some of the basic use cases, like how to create and store the data into the cloud, how to query that data, and what is the costing with the cloud. So you know that if you're querying a table, or if you are accessing a data, you're not spending much onto the cloud, because there is a cost associated with the cloud uses,
Definitely.
storage, and querying. So yeah, these are some of the factors where people need to keep in mind, so that they can start with cloud. It's not basically it's not a rocket science, to be honest. It's very
Hmm.
Yeah.
straightforward, but yeah, you have to keep your basics clear.
Yeah. After ChatGPT, nothing is rocket science.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
So
Yeah.
yeah, let me ask this to Rahul. I mean, Rahul, what do you think? How how the life has changed for somebody working on cloud or somebody working as a developer in some of these startups and MNCs after ChatGPT has come in? Let me give you some stats. Recently, some of the news were published that a lot of people from prestigious colleges in India have not been placed. And earlier, though it was a COVID recession, currently there are a lot of things going on in the global economy. Like
Yeah.
there's Israel-Iran war, there are tons of things after Ukraine-Russia war was there. Now ChatGPT is coming, where every company is reluctant to hire new engineers, and they want to upskill or leverage the existing engineers in the company. So, what is
Hmm.
your take on how the dynamics is going to change after ChatGPT?
Uh, Not a easy question to answer, I would say, but I use ChatGPT on a daily basis. So I think ChatGPT, it basically fastens the process, I feel. Like if I'm supposed to do a work in, let's say, 6 hours.
Hmm.
So with ChatGPT, I'm able to do the same work maybe in like 3 hours now because there
Yeah.
was some input, some right inputs given by ChatGPT. But I think
Hmm.
ChatGPT won't be replacing employees altogether. Like, means employee plus ChatGPT will give us a better output in less time.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
both can coexist together. That's what I feel, and I strongly recommend people to use ChatGPT. It will definitely
Hmm.
make them more productive. Coming to cloud, we use AWS. I don't know what Rajnish you guys use, but in our company we have been using AWS, and all our services like are come through AWS, and it's very
Hmm.
easy to use those services, build something out of them, and ship it. Like
Hmm.
it's I would say very easy for us. Like and we are very efficient, so it's very it's very easy for us to make some change and deploy it and make it prod ready. So
Hmm.
very user friendly.
Interesting.
Yeah. and very
So
easy
Rajnish,
to
what is the
use.
cloud
Someone who is a
cloud
who wants to learn cloud, I would say start with
uh-huh.
AWS.
Rajnish, you had a point here.
Yeah, I have one question just to add on what Rahul was mentioning on the
Mm.
ChatGPT.
Yeah.
So I know it's making the task easier, right? But what about the security and compliances? Like, I mean, my question here is, I know it's going to make the task simpler, but who is going to be responsible for the security? Because what my understanding is, whatever questions or whatever demand we sent into Chat GPT, they get some informations, right, related
Yes.
to us, whether it's our questions or our behavior, and they save that into their server, right? So what do you
Yeah.
Mhm.
think? Like, how, from a broader picture, are the enterprises in a condition like they can take that risk of implementing that chat gpt generative ai in their current infrastructure? Because most of, if you talk about the laws and compliance, like Europe has got the gdpr, we have got the different rules in the us, similarly India has also got some rules on the laws and compliance. So how we are going to deal with that, like in terms of
Yeah.
benefits versus security?
I think that is altogether a different question, I would say. So,
Hmm.
means it's then you sharing something with ChatGPT, right? You using open AI APIs, what they provide. So my answer was more on using it on a daily basis. Like
Ah,
I'm
okay.
sketching that, or if I want to influence something new, or if I want some design ideas. So my answer was on those front.
Ah,
So on
okay. Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
compliance front, yeah, I think I don't have much
Yeah,
to say.
compliance, if you let me answer that question. So
Yeah,
that's an interesting question about the security
yeah.
versus productivity.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you take example of on-prem solutions, right, where earlier
Mhm.
everybody used to have a on-prem servers and it was completely controlled by the companies, MNC, the startups themselves. Now what has happened is everything is shifted to cloud. Now same risk people raised at that point of time. What happens now? These companies own the servers. You have just access them through the consoles. Definitely, they will have to comply to a lot of things because the data that you upload on ChatGPT, essentially OpenAI version of ChatGPT,
Yeah.
is accessed by them as well, and they train their models on top of it. So
Yeah,
what a lot of companies are also doing is they are creating a version out of, because GPT in itself is a model that they
yeah,
try to deploy on their own servers and train that on the code basis that they have created.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
now Microsoft owns GitHub
yes,
and Microsoft also owns OpenAI. So essentially, all the code that is there on GitHub has been used to train.
yeah.
Used to
Uh,
train. Yeah.
yeah.
Do you think
So
they would be using all the codes? Do you think that? Let's say, like not we use Bitbucket. Let's say an XYZ organization, which is a startup. It has been there for last 10 years, and it's a private repo. Do you think
mhm.
Microsoft would be using their code base to means they could be means I mean, what do you think? Like, are they really using those
I'm not
private
going to
code
allege
bases?
anybody of malpractices for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
But let's say, I'll give you an example. In
Yeah.
healthcare, you have a lot of records, right?
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
you cannot use records unless until they are anonymized.
Hmm.
Now, if I put on the in the place of name, gender, or date of birth, XXS, and
Get it. Okay.
leverage the whole records, it's all anonymized, right? So it is
Mm-hmm.
under the compliance, it is under everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, as per my understanding, GPT-4 or GPT-3, and we are not seeing GPT-5 yet. And as far as I know, Microsoft has the access of GPT-5 for last 1.5 years. So they are beyond what we can imagine. And this is the GPTs are trained on the entire internet. As far as
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was having a discussion with somebody who was working there, a very interesting company who leverages OpenAI every day, and this was between the discussion that I figured out that it is trained on entire internet. So anything that is on internet, GPT has been trained, and the IQ of GPT is phenomenal. We have been talking about AGI for a very long time now, and it's the reality. So there is a test called Turing test that people predicted will be broken in 2029. It was already broken like 8 to 10 years prior. So we are way ahead of what we have expected from the tech. I'm pretty sure in near future we would be in a place where we would not be writing active code, and there will be a button click and they'll be generating a lot of things out of it. But one aspect that I definitely feel make will uh, will be slightly difficult for GPT to solve is people management. That's what you, Rahul and Rajneesh, do on a day-to-day basis as tech leads and tech architects. How can you leverage or solve the problem with 10 people in the room and dedicate the task in a way that you get maximum out of it? Knowing a lot of the background of people, knowing a lot of the capabilities of these people, knowing, like, for example, somebody comes today, my parents are not well, I'm going home.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
will try to work that later in the night. So some of these people management aspects, GPT will take a relatively longer time to solve than the
Yeah.
actual
So
tech.
yeah. So before Rajnish answers it, so I just wanted to add like my point of view, just a line maybe. So you said right. So what I still think is, so they would like the GPT or the AI world or the co-pilot world will still needs someone to tell them what to do. See, like, see, asking,
I don't think
passing
so.
a file or no. See, there are some mundane tasks which
That's
will go
where
right.
that's where
That
GPT is heading towards. The moment, see, first task of AI AGI was to generate whatever prompt is given to them.
yes,
GPT will reach a stage where they will be able to generate GPTs from by themselves. So, which is a very scary situation,
yeah,
and that's not too far.
yeah. It looks scary, but I
Yeah.
somehow still feel like there it would still need a set of not a set of people, but someone to like tell them, okay, you need a redefinition here, you need to improvise here, like someone, and that would be a never-ending process. Means it would not happen that someday ChatGPT runs by itself or it has gone into autopilot mode. So that I think there would be it will still
I hope
need
so. If that's the case, I
yeah
definitely hope that it does not start a new world or a AI
yes
simulation in itself.
yeah we strongly hope for yeah.
Yeah.
Now
Interesting.
on to Rajnish, yeah. And for the
Uh,
like what questions
Rajni, do you
he has
use
written and
GPT on a day-to-day basis in your day-to-day work? And if not, or if yes, where do you exactly use it, and how viewers of this podcast can leverage GPT in cloud setup?
I think so. From cloud setup, we have still not used the Chat GPT at the enterprise level since organizations are still in the process of evaluating them because they are not 100% sure related to the compliance and security of it at the moment, to be very honest with
Hmm.
you. And if you look at the UK economy, it's a more towards the banking and finance. It's kind of the fintech
Yeah,
mm,
basically, right?
mm,
makes sense. Yes.
And if you are in fintech, there is a lot of risk associated with the data, right?
yeah.
Because
Hmm.
if you anyone gets customer data and it's going out of not meeting the compliance, right? Because a lot of these banks are have the auditing happening on the daily basis, right?
Mm,
And if there is any data breach or any security breach, they need to pay a hefty amount of fine for that, right? So the
Yeah.
organization
Yes.
are still in the kind of evaluation mode, like they're evaluating like how, I mean, this is going to benefit their productivity, keeping in mind the security and compliance. So I see like maybe end towards the end of the year, they will be in a position to take some call on that, whether to go ahead with that or not. But at personal level, yeah, I have used Chat GPT and I see that it helps in productivity as what Rahul was mentioning, right? He has also used. But yeah, for the personal day-to-day activities you
yeah.
can use it definitely, but at enterprise level it's still in work in progress, I would say, at the moment. So let's wait for some more time and see how it gets
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
So my final question would be on if somebody wants to pursue a career in cloud and want to reach a stage where you are, which is tech architect, what type of roles this person should start applying with, and how does a career path of a technology architect in UK in cloud looks like?
Okay, so the first thing I would suggest before going to take architect, you need to get some basic understanding of the engineering world, right? Because until and my understanding is until and unless you are clear with the engineering piece of work, you will not be able to make a robust architecture. Because that is point where the analytical thinking comes into your mind, right? If I have done the 10 pieces of development, I know if I'm drawing this architecture, then someone else is going to do the development using this architecture. So they might be facing these challenges, right? Or which I have already faced while doing the engineering work when I was working as an engineer, right? So you have to get some insight of data engineering work, like how to ingest the data, how to transform the data, and then how to make it in a consumable format so that end users or business users can consume it as per their need. So that's the first point I would like to put emphasis on this. And then once you are clear with these fundamentals, you can start going through some of the basic courses, like I think so AWS is also having some free courses, like how to do the well architecture. Similarly, Google is also having, and Azure is also having, right? So you need to go through these courses, understand the services, like which services are getting used for which purpose, and what is the benefit of these services, and as per the use case, which service, cloud service is going to be best suited for the requirement. So you need to understand these things, and once you are clear of these things, then you can start with a simple use case, draw the architecture, like how it will look in the cloud, and then you can start yourself with the more complex ones.
Oh, that's pretty interesting. I will also put all of these uh, URLs of the courses probably in the description. So I would require your help, Rajneesh, to curate all of that so the viewers who's watching this and want to pursue a career in cloud can leverage from some of these courses.
Yes, sure. So
So
I will, yeah, I remember like I need to pass on one link for those companies who are providing
yeah,
the
yes.
sponsors. And then, yeah, so I will provide these course details as well. So basically, there are two parts just to
Hmm.
make it clear. So there is a something called infrastructure part in the cloud and something called data part, right? So
Hmm.
you can select any one of these paths. Someone which is managing the infrastructure will not heavily involved towards the data task, like doing the transformation, ingestion, and all. They will be involved towards the creating an infrastructure where you can put your data basically at high level, right? So
Mm.
someone looking for the infrastructure, they need to have the basic understanding of the cloud, so they can go ahead with the associate cloud engineer certification. And anyone who is having an interest in the data, they can go with the professional data engineer certification. And on top of that, you have your
Makes
architect
sense.
one. So these three levels will help you in understanding in a better way.
Oh, interesting. Oh, that was a pretty interesting conversation, Rahul and Rajneesh. Thanks a lot for your time. We look forward to having some more interesting conversation in future. You
When in
progressing as
future? When is the future, right? So when can we expect next? Or
probably another year. The moment you guys become CEOs of your respective companies.
okay, so we'll have become CEO to come to your podcast
Yeah,
again,
and yes, and that would be a physical one. And I prefer to shoot this in London probably
right?
next
Yeah,
year.
yeah, sure.
And when we
Yeah,
get invited for a physical podcast, we can also shoot a pretty extensive series on cloud, talking more about how somebody can progress as a tech architect, somebody can progress as a the new term that has come up is AI product manager or AI engineer, right? And that would be a really interesting conversation for people to listen to or watch to. But for now, it was a pretty interesting conversation. Thanks a lot, Rahul, and thanks a lot, Rajneesh, for your time. It was wonderful having you both.
Yeah. Bye.
thanks a lot, Samir,
Bye,
And
guys.
for having
follow
us.
follow Startup School for tech and product related things happening across startups.
Sure.
Bye, guys.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Take care. Take care.